to the First Off In My Opinion podcast.
You know how we do.
Tom Swoop.
Turn this up. Turn this up.
This is Tom Swoop. I have the lovely Tiffany in the building today.
Hi, Tom.
Tiffany, we're not going to beat around the bush. You are battling something. Tell the people.
I'm battling triple negative breast cancer.
How long?
I was diagnosed February 8th of this year. I just took short-term disability from work because of the chemo and the fatigue and the nausea and things like that, but it's impacted my life big time.
What's one thing you would want another black woman to know about this right now?
Be aware of your body. Take care of your body. When doctors tell you breast cancer doesn't hurt, get another opinion. I feel like they kept trying to pacify me a little bit. Then the fact that every time I kept saying I get in the sharp pain and I want to get a mammogram, they said, well, breast cancer doesn't hurt. And I think that's their belief. But I'm finding more and more women saying that they had the same issues. So just be aware.
Do you think, a nationwide level, do you think the importance of early detection is put out in our community as much as it should be?
Absolutely not. I don't think us being aware of our bodies overall, from gynecology appointments to OBGYN appointments, is put out in our community as much as it should be. Luckily, I was raised with a mom that taught me to go every year. You know, that was my birthday present to myself. So July 19th, every year I went and got a mammogram. I went and got this, that, and other things to take care of myself. But, you know, a lot of women don't know to do that.
I see they have breast cancer initiatives, but it just doesn't seem like it's geared towards us. And I'm not saying they need to have fried chicken and hot sauce in the ads, but I'm just saying it's not geared towards us. And I feel like that's where they're dropping the ball on a national level. So like when you talk about awareness and it's not hitting home, we've all touched somebody who's, you know, been through cancer.
Right.
But somehow it's still not resonating with us to get these tests early.
Ever.
And it's like, I mean, me personally, I've had 3 cousins in the last year and a half who has passed by cancer. After the first cousin, I went and got a full thing. I did everything. I said, Tess, put everything you got in here, player. So I had to go poop in a container, and send it off. It was the worst 2 days of my life.
I did that too this past year.
And, you know, everything came back great. I watched in the doctor's office. He hilarious. He's like, you're the most healthiest fat person I have ever met in my life. I shouldn't have waited until somebody passed for me to take my health seriously.
We don't take consideration of health, period. I think it's just how we were raised. Like for me as a kid, I never went to the doctor office. Like unless it was vaccines and I needed to go to school, it was always an ER. And that's the same for the dentist. And even now as an adult, it's like, I hate the dentist because as a kid, I was traumatized. I didn't go to the dentist unless I had a filling or a cavity or something like that. I think that's how our society was raised, and the cost of it and the insurance process of it. So we just kind of just push things off, but we have to take accountability for ourselves. Like you said, I have a lot of friends. So when they diagnosed me, first thing I thought is I'm dying. And then the next thing I thought is, why not me die? Because I've had several great friends that's passed in the last 6 years of breast cancer, or prostate cancer, or something else that came back and attacked their bone and things like that. So I think it's blended because of our childhood that we just don't take care of ourselves like that. We just, as long as we acting healthy and we're okay, and we move on, and that's it. But literally, you have to get tested. I'll be driving and I get a shooting pain in my right breast. Okay, I'm gonna get a mammogram the next week. Then January 27th, it woke me up I rolled on my back and self-mammogram myself. And I found a lump, and it was about that big. And then it spread it within 2 weeks of my mammogram and my biopsy. It spread it underneath to 3. So that's why I became stage 3, triple negative breast cancer.
Now, just to put this in context for my listeners, I guess I want people to understand the time frame,
how fast
and how
it
fast
happened. Exactly. Even one of my snaps, I'm looking at some of our R&B hip hop, and I'm like, just 2-3 months ago, I had not a care in the world. And now, every Friday, my dates is chopped up with chemo. Every Friday, I'm in Akron City Hospital. But yeah, it happened that fast.
With health insurance and that whole thing, is that a struggle right now?
Thank God I got good health insurance at Akron Children's Hospital. And thank God SUMA has a grant. So they had a grant and a scholarship program, more or less, where they pay 80% of my remaining bills. And then, like, literally from February to March, I met my deductible, so I haven't had to pay anything the whole year besides $500. And the crazy part about it with you is, remember, I think in December, I reached out to you for life insurance. And me and you were supposed to meet up, but we just kept messing up. Only life insurance I have is through my job. And that was pissed me off. It was like I kept trying to get it. I just felt like something was telling me I needed something else. Oh, definitely.
There's things you can do afterwards. It's not like you can't get it again. So the life insurance component of it is having those living benefits. And that's one of the things I just had somebody the other day. I did a life insurance policy for them, and they took off the living benefits to save $8 a month. It's a cup of coffee. But when you take off that $8 off of, let's say, I think in this case, it was a $300,000 policy, and you take off those living benefits. Now, what living benefits are is benefits you can use while you're alive. So like right now, how, she said she just took off of work. She could go into her life insurance policy and her doctor can say, well, look, she's going to be off for 12 months. Because for real, insurance to me is a ministry.
Yes, it definitely is. Because
I don't like pushy. I'm not a pushy salesperson. And the thing is, I feel like in my case, I should have been pushy. I should have been like, Tiffany, all right, we said we was going to meet here. I need to be more pushy because it's like, this is the level of importance. I do these policies all the time and I'm like, fam, say bucks. You want this. You want to keep this. And they don't do it. And it's frustrating. Or they get off the phone and be like, let me think about it. Or that $8 makes them think about it. And then we're like,
and they'll call back.
And, then they call back and it's too late. Stuff happens, it's frustrating. But let's move on from that. All right. So, of course, your family is helping you, supporting you, friends, family. Because I've talked to people before in your situation and they almost feel like the level of strength they have to show for everyone else. Even though they're going through this, it's still the burden of being strong for others. How do you feel about that?
It's a big burden. It's because people look at you and they say, oh, you're going to beat it. But then they treat you like you dying tomorrow. Like my cousin, I love my cousin to death. He texts me every morning since I've been diagnosed, I love you. I'm like, dude, you never did that before. Calm down. It's okay. I know you love me. You've been here. But my other cousin died from brain cancer. I think he was probably 45 years old. So my cousin's, the one I'm talking about now, his fear is he didn't do enough for the one that passed. So he want to make sure I know that he's there. It's like, but I'm going to make it. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Trust that I'm going to make it. Treat me as if you treated me before I got diagnosed. And a lot of people don't do that.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, you got kids. And how are you managing them? Because it's like you going through it, but you managing all these other people. It's like, it has to be frustrating.
I manage them with kid gloves because my daughter, she's a baby. She, you got to protect her and just make sure she don't see too much. But she sees most of it because she's my best friend. My son, he's in North Carolina, so he doesn't see a lot of it. But when he came in town, he was like the boss. And I'm like, when did you become the boss of me? Mommy got this. But he's like, no, Ma, I got this. And like literally called LeVar and for not just October, got me into other places and got me set up with other people because I didn't want to take no help. Yes, I am. I was a single mother at 15, 16 years old. I had to make a way. I'm going to make a way out of this one.
I've already asked you what you want, other Black women to know and take serious and you know in your body. Every woman in the world was listening to you right now. What would you say to them?
If you're scared of self-exam, have your partner self-exam. Let them know. And pull on her back, you rub and see if you feel anything different. Do it in the shower. Every other week, just know your body and just know it's a reality because cancer is rapid, like you said. And just by me being diagnosed and watching so many of my friends pass, I was afraid of self-exams and being diagnosed. And like I said, when the doctor told me triple negative, and I knew triple negative, it has a reoccurrence, early reoccurrence within the next 2 to 3 years. I've met a lady during this process that had the reconstruction surgery twice. It came back twice. And just know what's best for you and do your body, and just be cautious.
So being in a relationship, going through this situation,
It got us closer and like more aware. And a lot of people don't realize her strength, but in the same sense, she breaks down. So I've been able to allow her to break down with me. And she's allowed me to break down with her. Like chemo and cancer, you become evil. You're a mean son of a. And a lot of times you want to push people away because you don't want them to see you weak or out of it. Like I got nausea, crazy body aches, nuts, fatigue, thyroid issues right now going on because the chemo is attacking my thyroids. My partner's watched her aunt pass of cancer. And we just recently even said the other day how different it is when you actually is in love with the person that's dealing with it over just watching a cousin or a aunt or a brother. Mm-hmm. It's something different when you land next to someone and you kiss them and you can taste the chemo.
what are some of the misconceptions about the process that people have totally fucked up?
You know, when you think of chemo, you think of somebody on their last leg, eyebrows gone. Granted, a lot of hair is gone from me. I don't have nose hairs anymore, but yeah, like the misconception is that you're in your deathbed and then you're always, you get chemo fatigue, you get tired, but a lot of days are better than the bad days, honestly.
Now, when you had talked about early detection, going against your doctor, that's scary for some people. Some people are totally, my doctor said it, so it's the truth. And you had to say, okay, this hurts, this is something, I need you to da-da-da.
Like I said, mine started like at the end of December, beginning of January. I just kept getting I'll be driving and I'll get a shooting pain to my right breast. And crazy part of mine, I'm gonna go from the very beginning if you don't mind. Last year, I kept just saying I need to get my mammogram before I was changing my health insurance plan to a lower plan. So I wanted to get mammogram at the end of the year. I wanted to get the gynecology appointment at the end of the year. And I kept telling my doctor I needed. For some reason, Suma was using an old Epic Center system, so they could never find my prescription for the mammogram. Every time I called, nobody could find it. I went to my gynecologist, I went to my primary care, asked them both to put it in. So in January, when I started getting a shooting pain, I kept telling my fiance I need to get a mammogram. And she joked, oh, you don't need a mammogram, you're going to be fine. After the mammogram and the diagnosis biopsy, they realized it was cancer. Within 2 days, I was set up with an oncologist. I was set up with a breast surgeon. I was set up with a whole breast team that's Suma. Suma didn't drop the ball at all. I was very impressed with them, which most people kept telling me about the Cleveland Clinic. It happened that fast. My doctor, even a breast doctor, said, Tiffany, even though you didn't get your mammogram from October to December, you went to 2 different doctors that didn't feel the lump. You wouldn't have probably found it in the mammogram. So he wanted to give myself grace because I was mad at myself. This was the first year I didn't get my mammogram in a year. So I was beating myself up about that. And he just kept saying, realize 2 doctors didn't find it. You went to them, they did self-mammograms, they didn't find it. It grew that fast within January. And it spreaded that fast. But just to know that it's important to keep checking yourself, if something doesn't seem right. Like my cousin in Alabama, she's an MA, and she said it. Breast cancer doesn't hurt. It may be a clawed duct. It may be this. It may be that. And when I called her, I said, it's triple negative. She said, wow. She said, that's nothing but God. Thank God you listened to what he was telling you at the time he was telling you and waking you up. Because a lot of people would have just brushed it off. And that was my key, is just listening and paying attention to it.
Now, I'm going to get into the conspiracy theory vault right now.
Okay, let's go for it.
I feel like it is an epidemic of people catching cancer right now or developing cancer.
I don't feel it's an intent But I do feel like it's something with the food and the processes and the things that we take in our body. Just
Wouldn't that be intense?
That's true.
We have all these government agencies that are supposed to protect us from the food.
And that's the same with the real relaxers and vaginal cancer, stuff like that.
We just saw a movie that just hit, and it's satire or whatever you want to call it. They clone Tyrone.
Right.
And in that movie, they talk about all these things that are being implemented by the government in the black community.
If you have vaginal cancer or things like that, ovarian cancer, that's because a lot of people have relaxers. So I can see that intent.
I sit back and I look at this thing and I'm like, there's too many people. How do they regulate the amount of people? They can't just say, okay, eeny, meeny, mighty, mo, you die. No.
Oh.
So what they do is they implement these things. So they implement these things in our community that directly affect us, like relaxers. That is not in the suburbs.
Right.
That is in our neighborhood.
Definitely.
So that affects us directly.
Definitely.
So I asked you the question again.
Okay.
Because
like even with me, when I first got diagnosed, I had never drank alcohol until I was 35, 40 years old.
Really?
Yes.
You're such a good drunk.
I know. It's so good. Like I said, I should have had to try tequila a year. But yeah, 35 years old. And then I never smoked. I never did any marijuana my whole life. So like when they told me, I was like, I did everything right.
I see that all the time though. People will be like, oh, I get up, I run 5 miles a day, I work out, I do all this thing.
My mom battled lung cancer 3 years ago, but she smoked my whole life. So I was like, okay, I see why she got lung cancer. And then I was mad because all she had was surgical removal of her lung cancer. She didn't have no chemo. She didn't have anything. And it's like, well, why'd you make me get all this stuff? I did this, and this. And
I feel like a lot of, GMO, bioengineered food, that is just not what we're supposed to be eating. Right. I've changed a lot of my habits as far as eating. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still eat a lot, but I try to eat things that are at least healthier. You go to the store and you see like a cheap steak. Like let's say they got ribeyes that are, $9 or something like that. Most people like $9 ribeyes. Oh, we grilling. Me, I'll be like, bro, I want a $9 ribeye.
But we know you bougie anyway.
True. But it's a reason though. Is it a grass-fed, situation? It's a lot that go into it. Well, are we looking at $9 ribeye?
That's true. I never thought about it that way.
So
my partner, she was making me take everything out. But when you have nausea and not eating, you better give me what I can eat and I like to eat, because whatever comes, because after a while, I'm not eating at all. I've lost like 30 pounds so far. So this is my story. It's a short story. It's a chapter. That's what it is. It's a chapter. And this ain't it. And as black women and black men, be accountable for yourself and your life and your family. It gets easier. It gets better. And if it is my end, to keep people aware of what you got to do for you in the future. My story is for my kids, my daughter and my son and my grandkids, is to let them know to watch your health, because it's your health. Nobody else is responsible but you.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you, Tiff, for coming on. No, this is First Off in My Opinion. I'm Tom Swoop, and we out.